bro, you have to watch Elon Musk talk right now. You have to watch Elon Musk talk. He has a black eye. He has a black eye. He got hit in a lover's quarrel. Stephen Miller punched him in the face. Like, you're just like making shit up just so I will dive into whatever the f***'s going on in the White House currently. So yeah, and he doesn't look like he has a black eye at all. I don't know why you're saying that.
When you do try to, when someone
do what's right.
Oh my God, you guys weren't lying. This really has. Yo, this has a black eye. What is happening? Okay, I was wrong. I was wrong. I was wrong. Oh my God. Bro, what happened? Bro, this is getting freaky,
they like
dude.
Me or don't like
They're
me.
doing Diddy parties in the White House. Now I believe the Stephen Miller shit. Now I believe it. Lovers quarrel between Stephen Miller's wife, and Elon Musk. Did Stephen Miller punch Elon Musk because he was being selfish in the bedroom? Is Elon Musk a selfish lover? Is Elon Musk not a service top, but instead a selfish one? Is Blue Anon real? Is Donald Trump actually a Putin agent? Oh my God.
Left us vulnerable. We have a lot of countries that use tariffs on us and use them viciously, actually, viciously. And if we didn't have the power to use tariffs on them, and instantly, not when you go back to Congress and try and get hundreds of people to agree on something, that would take months to get just one simple proclamation. If we didn't have the power to counteract their powers, you wouldn't have a country left. We have to act fast. We have to be fast and nimble, as they say. And that was a really great moment, I think, yesterday when that stay was lifted. And hopefully now we'll go to court and just win that battle. Because if we don't have the power to do what they're doing to us, we are going to be a great nation no longer.
Elon Musk was once idolized by folks on the left in this country before joining your administration. Now he's considered a hero by conservatives. Why do you think this man, what he's done in American life, has been so politicized? Does it only have to do with you?
His life has been amazing. I mean, I look at so many different things. I look at that rocket being, guided back into position. I've never seen that before. I thought it was a space movie. I thought it was a movie. You look at what he's done in terms of communication, it's been unbelievable. So many different, even tunnels going underground, not having to go through all the process of
look at his face.
He's got a company that does that. He's got so many different companies. Starlink, as an example. He saved a lot of lives.
He actually got clocked. What is
North
this?
Carolina. I don't even know if you remember, but I called you. They needed Starlink in North Carolina. And I didn't know what the hell Starlink was. I said, what is it? Who owns it? He said, do you know Elon Musk? I said, yeah, I happen to know the gentleman. This was before his government stay. And they said, we really need it because North Carolina was literally became an island. It was, people had no communication. They had no access to anything, and they were dying. And I called up Elon, and you can't get it because it's so successful. It's very hard to get. And he had so much of it brought over there, and they told me it was unbelievable. It saved a lot of lives. So, he's just done a lot of things. I don't think, frankly, I don't think he gets credit for what he's done. But he's a very good person, too. You know what? If he wasn't a good person, but he did the same things, I'd probably maybe speak differently. He happens to be a really good person who loves the country. Yeah, please, go ahead.
What message do you like to send to international students? Are they still welcomed to study in the United States? And one question for Mr. Musk.
To students? Well, we want to have great students here. We just don't want students that are causing trouble. We want to have students. I want to have foreign students. I think Harvard, it's close to 31%. That's a lot.
He's like, as long as they don't,
$5 billion.
as long as they say Am Israel Chai, then we're good.
Nobody knew that.
That's it. That's the most significant part of this.
But we found that out over a period of time. That was sort of a Trump thing. We ended up in litigation.
They need to be pro-fascist, no anti-fascist nonsense.
And finding out and then going through the books, we found out that the country gave them $5 billion plus, much more than that, actually. And we're having it out with them, and let's see what happens. I think we have a very good, well, it's a very sad case. It's a case we win. We can't lose that case because we have the right to make grants. We're not going to make any grants like that. But I don't think Harvard's been acting very nicely. I think Columbia wants to get to the bottom of the problem. They've acted very well. And there are other institutions, too, that are acting, but Harvard's trying to be a big shot. And all that happens is every 3 days we find another $100 million that was given. 2 days ago we found $200 million more. The money's given to them like gravy. I'd like to see the money go to trade schools, where people learn how to fix motors and engines, where people learn how to build rocket ships, because somebody has to build those rocket ships.
Yeah.
And I'd like to see trade schools set up, because you could take $5 billion plus hundreds of billions more, which is what's spent, and you could have the greatest trade school system anywhere in the world. And that's what we need, to build his rockets and robots and things that he's doing, and to build lots of other things. And I went to school with people. In some cases they weren't good students, but they could fix the engine of a car better than anybody I've ever seen. They could take it apart blindfolded. They had an ability at that, and they did very well. They made a lot of money. It's a very skilled job. It's great. But I'd like to see a lot of money going into trade schools. I've always felt that. And we probably found our pot of gold, and that's what's been wasted at places like Harvard. And the money's been wasted. Yeah, please.
Yeah, well, I wanted to ask quickly, Mr. Musk, is your eye okay? What happened to your eye? I noticed there's a bruise there.
Well, it wasn't. I wasn't anywhere near France, so. What
does that mean?
No,
I didn't notice his eye.
First lady of France.
Getting slapped.
I didn't notice.
I was just horsing around with little X, and I said, "Go ahead, punch me in the face," and he did. Turns out, even a 5-year-old punching you in the face actually.
What? It was X that did? Yeah. X could do it.
No way.
But I didn't really feel much at the time, and then I guess.
I didn't even feel it. I'm so strong.
Actually.
President Trump, I got one. I know that you try to stay pretty neutral because not your war, but
And by the way, not my war. I just want to solve the problem for people. This was not a war that was going to happen if I were president.
right, and so not your war, but as you try to fix it, and as you survey this hellscape of the Ukrainian front lines,
It's horrible.
and you and your team deal with a very stubborn Vladimir Putin.
Yeah.
Do you
And
Zelensky?
Yeah.
But do you look at this
Very
conflict
stubborn Zelensky too.
any differently now? Like, do you look at this and see Putin as the good guy or the bad guy?
So I've known him very well, and I went through a lot of things with him because Russia was, the Russia hoax turned out to be a total hoax. New York Times, they got a Pulitzer Prize. They have to give back the Pulitzer Prize. That's my lawsuit, and they're doing very poorly in that lawsuit. But they wrote stories about how it was true and it was false, and a lot of Washington Post also. I have gotten to see things that I was very surprised at. Rockets being shot into cities like Kiev during a negotiation that I felt was maybe very close to ending. We were going to solve a problem, and then all of a sudden rockets got shot into a couple of cities and people died.
He was right at the edge, dude. He was right about
some things that I
to.
was surprised at.
He was right at the precipice
and I don't
of
like being
solving the
surprised.
crisis.
So I'm very disappointed in that way. With that being said, I'd like to see it end. 5,000
So
people. I
sad
think the
how
numbers
it just
even
was
more than that, but
unsolvable
5,000
all of a
people
sudden.
a week are being killed. Mostly soldiers, but also people that live in little cities and towns throughout Ukraine. And I'd like to see that stop.
And I asked Caroline this yesterday, but I want to ask you directly. So many of the things that you're trying to do are held up in court right now. If the courts are going to have so much influence over U.S. policy, do you wish you would have just become a judge instead?
Yeah, well, look, it wasn't meant to be that way. If you look at the founders, the president had certain powers, and you have your three groups, and they all had supposed to be pretty equal powers. But you can't have a judge in Boston running foreign policy in places all over the country because he's got a liberal bent or he's a radical left person. That's what the executive branch is for, and you have checks and balances. But we had millions of people pour into our country, many criminals poured into our country, murderers, mental institutions from all over the world being emptied out into our country. And if we don't get them out and get them out quickly, could lose your country very easily. This is a bad, that anybody would allow this to happen to our country. With all of the things, we took over inflation, we took over some wars, we took over a lot of problems that didn't exist when I was president. None of it existed. We wiped out ISIS. Other than that, We had no wars. Putin was never going to hit Ukraine. Israel would have never been attacked. That attack, as you know, Iran had no money. They didn't have money for Hamas. They didn't have money for Hezbollah. They had no money whatsoever. That wasn't going to happen. All of these things that happened weren't going to happen. You wouldn't have had inflation. So it's very sad when I came back. But the thing that is the hardest is that they allowed 21 million people into our country, and many of those people are stone cold criminals. They moved their criminal population into the United States, and of all the things that are bad, I solved inflation, I believe, already. I got the fuel prices down. The fuel prices came down. That's one of the reasons. They screwed up the energy. They screwed up the cost of gasoline and oil and gas. And you had tremendous inflation, the greatest inflation probably in the history of our country under Biden. And when people said, oh, but the economy was, no, the economy was terrible for the people because they couldn't afford the energy. And the energy brought everything else up. Energy is the big deal. But with all of that, we solved that already. In 4 months, we solved it. $1.99.
One of the interesting parts about like the reversal of the taco situation is that it's also a secret admission of Biden's economy not being as bad, at least by the time that Trump came into office, because like if he's reversing if he's reversing back to the mean, back to where Biden had said it, then that means that like Biden had actually recovered the economy by the end of his reign, which is also another interesting thing. Like he's just in the bag of for no reason.
The other side, like why would somebody do something? In business, I try and study why would they want to do this? Why would they want to sell it? Why would they want to buy it? One thing I can't figure out is what would an administration, what were they thinking when they allowed millions of people from prisons all over the world, not just from South America, Venezuela, all over the world, from the Congo in Africa, hundreds of people, thousands of people from the Congo, rough prisoners, from Asia, from Europe, rough parts of Europe. Why would they allow them to come into our country? Why would they do that? It's the one thing I can't figure out. And I don't believe it was Joe Biden. I really don't. I mean, look, he's been a sort of a moderate person over his lifetime, not a smart person, but a somewhat vicious person, I will say. If you feel sorry for him, don't feel so sorry because he's vicious. What he did with his political opponent and all of the people that he hurt a lot of people, Biden. And so I really don't feel sorry for him. But he wasn't a person that would allow murderers to come into our country. He wasn't a person that was in favor of transgender for anybody that wanted it, take kids out of families, et cetera, et cetera. So I just don't understand why a thing like this, how a thing like this could have been allowed to happen. Very sad. It's very sad for our country.
I think the fundamental moral flaw of the left is empathy for the criminals and not empathy for the victims. Empathy for the criminals, but not empathy for the victims. And there's been way too much.
Bro, you have empathy for no one. You barely have empathy. You can't empathize with a single person. Shut
that is
up.
unconstitutional. That was never intended.
I hate how much these guys like run around and reframe the narrative to be like, oh, dude, if you think that like black and brown people have been systematically underserved due to discriminatory practices, that means you automatically love criminals. Like, you're a criminal and you're sitting next to a criminal. What do you mean? It doesn't make any sense. Like, they have completely reframed the conversation where it's like, oh, dude, do you think, for example, that America shouldn't be bombing Yemen? I guess you love terrorists. You love terrorism. You fundamentally love people who want to terrorize the United States of America. It's like why are we adopting this framing? Why is this something that we are we have to respond to as though it's like sincere or serious? It's very frustrating.
To get people out without having to go through a court case. I mean, it was up to some of these judges every single one of these millions of people, criminals, prisoners that were let go from jails because they save a fortune when they do. They brought them into the United States. You know what they're saving? The money they're saving? But some of murders, it's very important that we're able to get those people out of here fast, bring them back to their country where they belong. And those countries take them, because if they don't take them, they have to go through the wrath of the United States, and they take them. But we have judges that don't want that to happen. And it's a terrible thing. That's going through the court system right now, that whole situation. But when ICE and with Border Patrol, they've done an incredible job. When they do this incredible job and they capture 100 killers and drug dealers, and we can't keep them for years here as we go through trials. We have to get them out rapidly, and we know who they are. We know who they are. And we're very careful about who they are, but we have to get them out rapidly, or again, we're not going to have a country. Okay? Maybe one or two more. Go ahead.
Are you concerned that tariff may also affect companies like Tesla, which has parts manufactured abroad? And this is also to you, Mr. Musk.
Well, he's going to end up building his whole car here. I mean, I thought he built his whole car. Pretty much he does. He's got incredible factories, and like I looked at one in Texas. It's unbelievable. No, all of the manufacturers will build their parts here too. I mean, it used to bother me. They make a part in Canada, a part in Mexico, a part in Europe, and it's sent all over the place, and nobody knew what the hell was happening. I think it's ridiculous. You build a car, make it in America, and
you're saying major brandonization is happening, but this is the type of brandonization that took place in the first administration as well. Some parts of this is not full Brandon. Other parts of it are brandonization. Him rambling on about a nonsensical bullshit in a way that he believes favors them is not necessarily brandonization, but just regular Trump. There is brandonization taking place, though. That is for sure. That is a certainty. Yet another exercise in futility. Let's take a look at Elon Musk while the cameras are leaving. This is when you'll see more honest moments from him. Well, okay, he just looked like shit as always. Interesting conversation that took place here. Obviously, part of the reason why they did this is because what the okay, give me some of the high notes from this. What is the Aaron Rupar cut? I need to see some of the parts that I didn't get to see. I need to see what's going on here. Obviously, there is the pure graft from the Trump White House in terms of cryptocurrencies and whatnot. Did you see this? Oh, Democrats were celebrating. Oh, that's not. Wow. Okay. Elon Musk poached Stephen Miller's wife during his grand exit from the White House. No. That's crazy. So they are. Blue Anon is actually going full blown. Dark woke is real. Dark woke is happening. The Daily Beast has gone full dark woke. So this is what's going on now. Like, this is what we're doing. Musk takes Stephen Miller's wife as Trump aide, rage tweets. So this is a real thing. Like, this is, they actually are, like, there's a real cuckening taking place in the White House. Elon Musk is officially making his exit from the federal government. It appears he's taking one of President Donald Trump's top aides with him. Katie Miller, a top advisor and spokesperson for the Department of Government Efficiency of the White House, is headed out to work for the tech billionaire. It's prompted rumors to swirl across the internet that there's trouble in the West Wing paradise. Miller is married to White House Deputy Chief of Staff Stephen Miller, who on Wednesday fired off a lengthy post on X over Musk criticizing Trump's big, beautiful bill. Okay, I need to hold on. Let me see. I should paywall remover this. I should paywall remover this real quick. Hold on. Instead of zapping it. All right, let's see. God, this is a terrible removal of. What is happening, man? What is going on? Okay, there it is. We got it. Okay. Okay. Katie Miller, a top advisor and spokesperson for the Doge. Okay, Miller is married to the White House Deputy Chief of Staff. Katie Miller, who also served in the first Trump admin, was named to work with Doge in December. She will reportedly now work for Musk full-time and has already been helping him set up interviews. unrelated to his Doge work as he bids the government farewell. Daily Beast reached out to the White House for a comment on Miller's departure. Musk's Doge appeared ready to bring a wrecking ball to the federal government when it started its work, shutting down U.S. aid in one weekend and demanding millions of federal employees justify their work. However, the tech billionaire appears to have delivered far less than his operation set out to achieve as he exits. The clear impact of Doge's work, yeah, we already know that. The world's richest person literally once wielded a chainsaw on stage during his role, but he departed with a post on X. As my scheduled time as special government employee comes to an end, I would like to thank President Donald Trump for the opportunity to reduce wasteful spending. He wrote on Wednesday, the Doge mission will only strengthen over time as it becomes a way of life throughout the government. A special government employee allows members of the private sector to work for the federal government for up to 130 days. Musk's time is up on Friday. Like Musk, Miller joined the administration as a special government employee, so her time at the White House was also restricted. Does Elon Musk have too much power? According to an Associated Press poll conducted, 88% of the Democrats say yes. Overall, across the board, 65% say too much, 27% only say about the right amount, and 6% say too little. Even within the Republicans, 37% of Republicans say too much. 69% of independents say too much power. Okay? Understandable, because he's gross and he is a repulsive little monster, and therefore a lot of people were disgusted by him, and he was not charismatic enough to be able to. He was not charismatic enough to be able to navigate through this while also simultaneously trying to fire a bunch of employees. Also, who are the 4% of Democrats that say Elon Musk has too little power? I never understand the way some people respond to these polls. I'm like, this does not make any sense whatsoever. While Musk claims Doge's mission will only strengthen, he also criticized Trump's massive bill tackling his domestic agenda on his way out the door. He said he was disappointed because it increased the deficit and undermines the work that the Doge team did. Miller's husband sent out a lengthy post on X pushing back that the Congressional Budget Office is finding that the bill increases the deficit by $3.8 trillion is an accounting gimmick. But multiple analyses of the legislation all found the same thing. However, in a separate post, he did praise Doge's work as among the most valuable services ever rendered to government. His wife has not commented on commented on her departure from the Trump admin, but she has posted and reposted about Musk's his AI company, SpaceX, Doge, and X in the past 24 hours. The Millers were married in February 2020 at the Trump Hotel, just a few blocks away from the White House during the president's first term. Trump was in attendance. Together, they have 3 children. The couple was first introduced in 2018 by a mutual friend, despite having already spoken on the phone multiple times because of work, according to their wedding announcement. During the first Trump administration, Katie Miller worked for the Department of Homeland Security and later as press secretary for VP Michael Pence. When Musk moved to Washington, he was often spotted with his young son, X. He's been married 3 times and he's fathered at least 14 children. So I guess the blue and on conspiracies that they're piping, right? Like Elon Musk is cucking Stephen Miller. They had a threesome, and basically that's what happened. Like Elon Musk basically stole Stephen Miller's wife from Stephen Miller. And that's the blue and on conspiracy. I think there was already a conspiracy theory that we saw. Blue and on conspiracy theory. Does anyone have that TikTok? I'm sure someone must have seen it. I know one of you guys actually sent it to me. There is this like blue and on conspiracy that's popping off right now surrounding the potential threesome allegation between Stephen Miller and Elon Musk and Stephen Miller's wife. I don't believe it, but I want to see it regardless. And I think it's very funny that Dark Woke did it again. Dark Woke is back, bigger than ever, more powerful than ever before, and popping the frick off.